There is a moment that happens in therapy offices every day, and it takes about 8 words. A person says, "I'm going to fail," and the therapist says, "Try saying I'm having the thought that I'm going to fail." Same content, same fear, 8 extra words. And something shifts, not the fear itself, but your position relative to it. A second ago you were inside the thought, looking out through it. Now you are outside it, looking at it. In modern clinical language, this move is called diffusion. It comes from acceptance and commitment therapy, and it was formalized in the 1980s. It is one of the more respected tools in the contemporary kit, not because it argues with the thought, but because it changes where you stand. Here is the thing. That move, seeing a thought instead of being one, was described, systematized, and argued over with full philosophical rigor in the 4th century in northwest India by 2 half-brothers, not as a coping technique, as a complete theory of how minds work. This channel is about that theory, not because it is old, and not because it is exotic, because it was built for minds like yours, minds that run all night, replaying, forecasting, redeciding, and because it maps that machinery with a precision modern psychology is, in places, still catching up to. No incense, no chanting, nothing to join. A map read slowly. The half-brothers were named Asanga and Vasubandhu. 4th century, northwest India. Between them, they built a school of Buddhist philosophy called Yogācāra, though the name that matters more is its translation. Consciousness only. That is the central claim, and the central claim is uncomfortable. You never experience the world directly. Not once, not for a moment. Not this room, not that email, not the person across the table. What you experience is your mind's rendering of these things. A construction, assembled fast and out of sight, then presented to you as though it were raw reality. To a first approximation, you live inside a rendering, and the rendering is good enough that you have never caught it in the act. The Sanskrit term is Vijnapti Matra, consciousness only, and we will earn that term properly over this series. Tonight it sounds like philosophy in the bad sense, the kind that changes nothing. It isn't. Because if what you experience is a rendering, then the restless mind's problem is not, first, the world. It is the render. The disaster you rehearsed at midnight was rendered. The contempt you read in a 2-line email was rendered. The failure you are certain is coming, rendered in high resolution by a machine that is very good at its job. Asanga and Vasubandhu did not stop at the claim. They took the mind apart to see how the rendering gets made, layer by layer, 8 layers deep. This series will walk the whole system. Tonight we need 2 pieces of it, a mistake and a mechanism. The mistake first. The classic illustration used in these texts for centuries goes like this. A man is walking a dark road at night. He sees a snake coiled on the path. His body reacts before any decision is made. Breath short, heart loud, feet stopped. He stands there at a safe distance managing a snake. Then he lights a lamp. It is a rope. Notice what was real in that scene. The fear was real. The racing heart was real. The half hour of standing in the dark was real. The snake never was. The school's term for this is parikalpada, usually translated the fully imagined. Not imagined as in faint or half-hearted. The experience was complete. Full color, full physiology, full conviction. Fully imagined means the projection was total and it was mistaken for the world. You have your own dark roads. An email arrives, 2 lines, no greeting, no sign-off, and you read contempt in it. You carry that contempt around all afternoon. You draft replies to it. You may eventually learn the sender was typing with one thumb between meetings and meant nothing at all. Or you never learn anything, and the snake stays a snake forever. Or this one. It is 3 in the morning and you are replaying a conversation from years ago, auditing your own sentences, reconstructing what they must have thought of you. Look at that phrase, must have thought. You have never once met another person's actual thought. You have only ever met your rendering of it. That is a snake on a dark road at 3 in the morning. Now the mechanism, because the obvious question is why the mind keeps rendering snakes. Yogācāra's answer is agricultural. Every mental act, every thought you complete, every scenario you run, plants a seed in a deep layer of the mind. The seed waits. Later, under the right conditions, it sprouts as the same kind of thought, and here is the part that matters. It arises more easily than before. The Sanskrit word is bija. It means, literally, seed. The deep layer where the seeds wait is called alaya vijnana, the storehouse consciousness. It is where this channel gets its name. The storehouse is not a judge and not an editor. It does not ask whether a thought was useful or kind or true. It stores. Run a catastrophe once and the storehouse holds a catastrophe seed. Run it nightly and you are farming. Which brings us to the sentence this whole episode exists to deliver. When you spend an evening rehearsing disaster, you are not solving anything. You are practicing. The rehearsal feels like work. It has the texture of diligence, of covering your bases. But at the level of the storehouse, the content is almost beside the point. What you are training is the move itself. Rehearse, replay, forecast, judge. Each pass plants seeds for the next pass, and the next pass comes easier, and its seeds come easier still. The tradition has a second word for this. Vasana, usually translated perfuming. Thoughts leave a scent on the storehouse, the way smoke settles into cloth. Nothing dramatic happened, but the cloth smells of smoke now, and it will tomorrow. If any of this sounds familiar, it should. Cognitive therapy rests on the observation that people are disturbed not by events, but by their interpretations of events. That between the world and your reaction stands a layer of appraisal, and the layer can be examined. That is the rope and the snake, in clinical prose. Acceptance and commitment therapy, as we said, formalized diffusion in the 1980s. I'm having the thought that I will fail. That is seeing a thought instead of being one, reduced to a sentence you can carry. And modern neuroscience has a shorthand, neurons that fire together, wire together, for the finding that repeated patterns of activity get easier to repeat. That is, seeds, sprouting easier each season. Let me be precise about what I'm claiming, because precision is the whole point of this channel. I am not claiming lineage. Nobody's therapist learned this from monks, and the researchers arrived at their findings through their own methods, on their own evidence. What we have is convergence, two projects, 16 centuries apart, dissecting the same organ and finding the same anatomy. The resemblance is not subtle. And one more boundary, stated plainly. This channel is philosophy, not treatment. It offers a model of the mind, not care for one. If your mind has stopped feeling like an overactive instrument and started feeling frightening, if the thoughts are getting darker or you cannot find the floor, a real person, a professional, beats any video ever made, including this one. A map is not a guide. Get a guide. So what do you do with all this tonight? Not much, which is deliberate. Here's the practice, and it is small. Sometime in the next day, when you notice the mind running, spend 2 minutes counting your thoughts. Not their contents, their kinds. 4 bins are enough. Planning, replaying, forecasting, judging. A thought arises. You name the bin, quietly, one word, replaying, and you let it pass without finishing it, without arguing with it, and without tracing it back to its origins. Especially that last one. This is not an invitation to figure out why you think what you think. You are not analyzing the inventory. You are counting it. Call it a storehouse audit. What tends to happen, I will not promise it, but it tends, is that the naming itself changes your position. The instant you say forecasting, you are no longer inside the forecast, you are looking at it. That is the 8-word move from the therapy office, stripped down to one word. It was always one move. Everything on this channel is a variation on it. If you forget the audit entirely, nothing is lost. The storehouse keeps. It will be there tomorrow, and so will the practice. Next episode, why conversations replay at 3 in the morning, the part of the mind whose full-time job is running that loop, and why it clocks in precisely when you want to sleep. For tonight, this is enough. You do not have to win against the mind. See one thought as a thought. Seen is enough.